Well, hello. Music Man here. And we are at Shop Talk, 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight, Standard Daylight Time. Fort Wayne, Indiana. Gonna stick around here for a minute and see if anybody shows up before I start addressing the things that I want to address. I see that somebody has joined us. Please let me know where you're from. Send me a chat. Let me know who you are. That'd be great. I'm going to stick around a little bit longer and see if some other people show up. I have actually quite a bit of information today for you guys. Ladies and gentlemen, you are going to love what I have to say. Like, I'm just telling you, I actually just read it myself today. So make sure you stick around because it's pretty cool. If you're a car buff, if you're a GM person, especially a Corvette person, make sure you stick it out. Yeah, it's kind of funny because I've seen several posts on social media this week about daylight savings time is like going back to normal life and returning to misery, and 12 noon it's sunny and everything is great, and at 4:59 it gets back to misery and all this other stuff. And I just have to correct you. That's not daylight savings time. That's actually standard time. That's the way it's supposed to be. If we never changed time, that's the way it would be all the time. I hear people complain about it, but then they completely have it backwards. Like the point of saving, do you know what the word saving means? Saving means to save it, right? For the end of the day. So I personally like daylight savings time because it makes the day longer during the summer when you want more daylight so you can do more things outside, like car shows and going out and cruising up and down the boulevard in your hot rod. You know, that's what daylight savings is. Like, I didn't mean to go down a rabbit hole and go on to this binge or whatever, but if you're going to complain about it, make sure you complain about it properly because you have it backwards. Standard daylight time is when the day is short and we have to literally come home in the dark and go to work in the dark. That's the whole point of daylight savings. That's all. So I just wanted to kind of hang out a little bit before I start talking about the list of things I have on for the show tonight. So I guess since we are about 5 minutes in, 4 minutes, I guess, let's hang out a little bit longer, see if anybody else shows up. It is Eastern time. I have started my new time officially. This is the third show, I guess, that I'm doing it at 8 o'clock instead of 7 o'clock, so that more people can maybe show up. And that would be fantastic if you show up. Make sure you let me know where you're from. That would be cool. But anyway, let's go ahead and start the show. And you know what I like to do here. Like I've been saying before, if when you talk to the screen and you don't have anybody else here to talk to, you just have to make your own party. So that's what Music Man does. I just try to make my own party. Eventually, I hope that people will start to interact with me on this and ask questions and discuss things with me. This is, I think, Shop Talk number 17. We're still pretty early into doing the live show. Again, I only do it every other week because I'm just way too busy to try to do it weekly. And I think this is number 17. And I have a lot of stuff to talk about. And actually something that I just read today that is pretty amazing. And so you're going to want to stick around for the end so you can hear what I have to say about that. But I have quite a bit of big news. I always try to find good big news, but I have really big news, even more so on the personal front. And we will get to that eventually, but I'm going to, like I always do, I'm going to go backwards a little bit, and I'm going to start with, since I had the last show, well, I guess it's actually 2 shows back. I guess 2 weeks ago, I had already sold my Jeep, but I was gonna throw that out there that that I have sold my Jeep, and this is the Jeep that I had, 2024 Wrangler Willys. You've seen it on my channel before. I've done videos on it, and I actually did ceramic coating on this Jeep for the first time ever in my life. And I was pretty impressed with the outcome of that. If you haven't seen the video, you'll probably hear me say this often. Go check it out because it did turn out pretty good. So anyway, I sold the Jeep. I put the Jeep and the Camaro up for sale on Marketplace, and I didn't sell it, either one, on Marketplace, but the Jeep is definitely gone, and I got rid of it on October the 10th. Now, on October the 12th was 2 weeks ago, I guess. That's when I did my last live. That would have been 2 weeks ago tonight, and I mentioned that I had already sold the Jeep. And then something happened really cool the very next day. And that was, I was invited. Actually, I want to say I was invited, but I kind of maybe reminded Camaro Cave that I was working day shift now. And we had tried one other time for me to go on to Camaro Cave as a guest. And for whatever reason, I just had a tough time making that happen. So on the 22nd, which would be 2 weeks ago tomorrow, I actually went on Camaro Cave as a guest, which was really cool. I had never done that before. If you haven't checked it out, make sure you go check it out. Camaro Cave, Andrew and Tonya are real good friends of mine. And the other cool thing is that while we were on that show, Scott Suttlemeyer also joined us. And if you know who Scott is, he's the F-Bod father. He's former GM employee, and he is really good friends with Andrew and Tonya. And so we had like 4 people on all 4 of us on the show. That was really cool. I had never experienced that before. They had me on. We talked about a few different things, and like I said, if you aren't following or if you aren't subscribed to Camaro Cave, make sure you go over and check them out. Subscribe to their channel. Hit the thumbs up when you watch their show, just like I ask you to do when you watch my show, because when you hit the thumbs up and make comments, that really helps YouTube know that you dig what we're doing on here. So We all work pretty hard on that to, do these shows. And that was quite a bit of fun. I'm not going to lie. That was a lot of fun. Being able to go on the show and talk to them. Like a video chat, kind of a vlog type, whatever, podcast, whatever you want to call it. It was really cool. Something that, like I said, I have never experienced it before. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that, give them a shout out and tell them thanks for having me on their show. It was pretty cool. Now, if we can move on to before we move on, Scott Settlemeyer had a little quiz that night, and he gave away a license plate to the person that gave the proper answer to his quiz. It wasn't me. I'll just tell you that. But before the show actually started, I had a chance to go and video chat with the three of them before we actually went live. And he mentioned that he was going to give one of those plates away. And I was like, that's really cool, man. That's awesome. He's like, do you want one? I said, sure. I'd love to have one. So he sent me one. And he, like he said, I sent him my address. And in a couple of days, I got this really cool plate in the mail. I'm going to unwrap it real quick. But it is from the 1996, August the 3rd, 1996, Indianapolis Brickyard 400 official pace car. How cool is this? I'm going to hold it up. Hopefully you can see it. And it's straight. I don't like to do stuff crooked. But check that out. Isn't that neat? Let's see. Everything's backwards. So, yeah, Scott Settlemeyer sent me that. And I really just made my day getting that. When I got home from work, it was in the mail. And on the back, it says, to Corbin, Scott Settlemeyer, a.k.a. F-Bodfather, and he dated it October 22nd, 2025. So I was really happy to get that in the mail. That's going to definitely go up on my wall here in the studio. Like I have stuff on the walls. And it'll be pretty cool. So I wanted to show you that real quick. That was actually pretty cool. Made my day. Thank you, Scott Settlemeyer, for the pace car, Brickyard 400 pace car license plate from 1996. Now think about that. One more year, that plate will be 30 years old. Isn't that nuts? Man, I'm getting old. Anyway, so moving on to some of the news. We've been talking about it for quite a while, because I think it's been like 3 months. They had they put a stop sale. GM put a stop sale on the Z06s and the ZR1s, Corvette, C8 Corvettes. But if I remember right, it was from 23 to 26. They weren't allowed to sell those cars because people were putting gas in their car. The gas went down inside and got ignited by one of their ignitions, and a couple of cars burnt to the ground at the gas pump. And so they discovered that there was some kind of part that they needed for that to fix it. It took them forever to figure out, I guess, how to fix it, how to make a part and send it out to other GM dealers. But, excuse me, the dealers weren't allowed to sell the Z06 and the ZR1 until they figured that out. So they had a stop sale on it. Now, I believe it was October 25th, they released that stop sale because they have started to send those parts out to dealers all across the country. And the dealers have been able to take that part, put it on a car if they had one on the floor, or if a customer brings their car back in for the recall, they can fix it, and then everybody's happy. Now, they also, they were able to fix it in the factory, and everything that they produced past September 1st was already taken care of. So if the car was built after September 1st and got sent out to a dealer, the dealer was in fact allowed to sell that car because it was already taken care of by GM. But anything prior to that had a stop sale on it. So there were a lot of people that were getting pretty frustrated and upset because they had put money down on buying a car and speccing out a Z06 or ZR1, and they weren't producing them. They weren't letting people buy them because of that problem. So that's good news, you know, that they got that figured out. And like I said in several of my other shows before, that's pretty crazy, that, you know, you buy $100,000 car and something crazy happens like that, and then they completely stop selling them because of safety reasons. Because if they sold them and someone got hurt, then obviously they'd be liable. So that is over. That's good news. And then so I want to move on to the next thing, and the next thing is I guess it would have been. I'm gonna look at my calendar real quick. 2 Saturdays ago now, which would have been the 25th of October. I'm not sure why I have it in my notes as the 27th, but I have it in here. Okay, October 25th, I went out to Warsaw to Lakeside Chevrolet to shoot my monthly video for their showroom. I always go out there and I shoot a video each month, and I didn't think I was going to be able to get out there on November 1st, which was last Saturday. So I went out the week before to shoot the inventory that they had. And while I was shooting that inventory, I came across something really cool. So I'm going to show you that. And that is right here. This is a C7. Let's see, C7 Z51. And how cool is that, right? I found this car. I guess I can't play that until I'm on that particular page. So I'm just going to play you this video. I went and shot some drone footage on it last week because guess what? I bought this car. So I traded my Camaro in, my 23 SS 1LE. As I called it on Instagram, I called it sick_1LE. I traded it in for this 2015 C7 Z51. So the Z51 package, if you don't know, if you're not familiar with it, the Z51 package on a Corvette is the same equivalent as the 1LE package on the Camaro. Okay, so this is basically a Camaro. It's a Corvette built pretty much the same way a Camaro is built. Or should I say, the Camaro is built a lot like this car is built because they both have the LT1 motor in them, the 6.2 liter V8 performance motor. That's what they come with stock from the factory. So I have been wanting a Corvette for quite a while. And so I guess the next thing I need to do is I need to address the elephant in the room. I know there are quite a few people that are upset with me because they don't understand why I got rid of my Camaro. And I get that. I have been answering questions and reading hate mail about it. Like, you know, I've always said from the very beginning that Music Man's Garage is not car specific, but I will tell you that it is probably because I am Music Man and this is my channel. It is probably going to be more about Chevy or GM because I'm a Chevy guy. Now, I also want you to know that I like other cars. Will I ever own a Ford Mustang? Probably not. Will I ever own a Dodge Challenger? Probably not. But I will own the cars that I want to try, and that is Camaros and Corvettes. And so I had 3 Camaros over the last couple of years, and now it's time for me to have a Corvette, and I'm pretty excited about that. I hope that, you know, I don't lose a bunch of people on the channel. I hope you don't unsubscribe or that you're disappointed with me and that you don't want to be my friend anymore, because trust me, I met a lot of people in the Camaro world that I like a lot. I have a lot of good friends that I met through having a Camaro over the last couple of years. And guess what? I'm going to have another Camaro. Just understand that right now the car that I drive is a Corvette. And so anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there because like I said, I've had quite a few people, they were like bent with me. And you know, this car is, when I saw this car while I was doing my my walkthrough video out at Lakeside Chevrolet, it caught my eye. It's beautiful. Somebody had this car and they took really good care of it, and they kept it in their garage, I'm sure. I think there were 2 owners of this car before I got it. But it doesn't even look like anybody ever sat in the passenger seat of this car. So it is in absolute tip-top shape. It has 20,000 miles on it. And I actually called the guy that did my build on my Camaro. I had conversations with him before I ever bought the car to try to get an idea from him, you know, if he could, you know, kind of shed some light on some stuff for me, because like I wasn't sure what all it meant for me. So it's basically the same platform. It's just it's a Corvette instead of a Camaro. And there's a part of me that really wants a 5th gen. I talked about that. I think I talked about that 2 weeks ago. I really want to try a 5th gen. Like, it seems like there's a lot more room in the 5th gen. Because I test drove several of them, and I've been looking at them, and I kind of have my eyeball on a 3-pedal 5th gen right now. Am I going to buy it right now? Probably not, because I just bought a Corvette. But I just wanted to kind of, you know, talk to you guys about it, explain to you that just because I sold my Camaro doesn't mean I still don't want to hang out with my Camaro friends. Now, will I go to an all Camaro show? Maybe not, because I might feel a little bit out of place if I don't have one. So, but that doesn't mean that I won't get another one. And I just wanted to kind of talk about that because, like I said, I've been getting all kinds of crazy messages from people. They're like, dude, what were you thinking? What was I thinking? I was thinking that I want a Corvette, so I bought a Corvette. And I even had a guy call me and told me I was stupid. That's the worst thing you could have ever done. You're going to hate the Corvette. Like, you know what, dude? I'm the one that buys it. I'm the one that pays the bill for it. Let me experience the Corvette for me, and let me decide if I hate it or if I love it or what. You know, don't just automatically assume that because you had a problem with the Corvette that I'm going to have a problem with the Corvette. So I'm excited about having a Corvette. Now, I did 2 weeks ago when I was on Camaro Cave. We talked about, again, I had a long conversation with Andrew and Tonya about getting a 5th gen. And they said it's really tough to go backwards in technology. And I've never forgot that when they said that. And it's true. When you have a 2023 Camaro, even though it's a 1SS, and you go back to a 15 Corvette, the technology in 2015 isn't the same as it is in 2023 or 2024 or whatever. So I understand fully what they said, and now I know for myself what they said, because this car doesn't have CarPlay in it. I'm going to put that in it. This car, even the heads-up display, the graphics on the heads-up display isn't as advanced as the heads-up display was in my Camaro. But I still wanted a C7. And I decided, actually, when I bought this car, I was actually looking at this C7, and out of the corner of my eye, I was looking at a 2025 C8 that had like 9,000 miles on it. And if you watch my video from November walkthrough at Lakeside, you'll see the car I'm talking about. It's white. I got in it. I looked all around inside of it, checked out the interior. We sat down and talked about numbers. But at the end of the day, what it came down to was I wanted to experience what it was like to have a C7. And I had actually also considered going back even as far as a C6. But I've also read and talked to some other people about the particular C6 that I was interested in. And I just decided that I want to go backwards in technology, but I didn't want to go that far back, because now this Corvette is my car. This is the car that I'm going to drive for a while. This is the car that I plan on taking to Bumper Wilson Tuning and doing some things to it. I'm probably like 80% sure that I won't put a cam in it, but we have already talked about a couple of ideas to do to this car to give it a little bit more performance, but then possibly down the road, like next year, possibly put a supercharger on it. I don't know for sure that I'm going to do that, but this is the car that I have right now, and this is the car that I want to drive. And I have been absolutely enjoying the heck out of this car since I got it 8 days ago. I just got it last Monday. I found it on Saturday. I test drove it Saturday. I decided right then and there, I'm tired of driving these cars and not knowing what it's like to have one. So I jumped off the cliff and I got this car, and I'm thrilled to death. Like, I hope that you guys know and understand that I am a Camaro / Chevy / Corvette guy, and I will definitely have another Camaro someday. So don't give up on me. So anyway, I just wanted to throw that out. I had a few pictures to show you. I suppose I could show you some more. But you know, it's a beautiful car. Like, I've taken it out and I've done some, shot some videos and photographs of it. just because it's fun, and so I'm having a blast, and I'm looking forward to doing some fun stuff with it, and so that's basically one of the first things that I wanted to talk about was Music Man is now the proud owner of a 2015 C7 with the Z51 performance package on it, and I'm pretty stoked about that. So, you know what? Hit me up in the comment section. Tell me what you think. Even if you aren't totally thrilled with me, trust me, I've already read stuff about it. I've already had to hear it from a few friends that they think I'm crazy, and that's okay. But tell me what you think, and reach out. So I wanted to throw that out, and now let's move on to something else, because I feel like I'm just talking about the same thing. So, as you know, I sold the Jeep, and today I had to buy something else to get me through the winter, because I'm not going to drive my Corvette in the winter, right? So I was able to lock in a deal today on this particular vehicle. This is a 2018 XT5. Yeah, it's used. It's got front wheel drive. It will get me through the winter, so I don't have to drive my Corvette in the winter. So I'm pretty excited about that too. I'll probably have that picked up by the end of the week. The only photograph I have of it, I did go and see it, but the only photograph I have of it is one from the internet. So there's that. And then, yeah, so that's what I'll be driving in the winter instead of my Jeep. Now, if you watch the video that I put together on my Jeep, you will already probably know that I was not all that crazy about having, something that I paid $53,000 for and literally drove it like maybe 3,000 miles a year. Like, it just didn't make any sense to me. And I think that, for $53,000, you can buy a brand spanking new Cadillac XT5, and it's fully loaded. It has everything. Now, I guess I must be getting old, and that's okay. I even had a friend on here telling me I was old. That's all right. He's just as old as I am, because we're friends. We played music together, so that's what happens when you get old. I guess you just like stuff that's a little bit more cozy, right? So anyway, I do have this flyer to show you. They have definitely put out that the dates for next year's annual Mustang and versus Camaro show that the NEOCC puts on. They made the date, and it is Saturday, June the 20th, 2026, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. I went to that show this year. It was fantastic. I think there were more Mustangs there than there were Camaros. And rumor has it that's because there was another Camaro show going on somewhere else, and a lot of the Camaro people had already decided to go attend that. So I wanted to show you that flyer real quick, and then moving right along, because it's already 8:35. I can't believe how fast time goes by. I got an article from GM Authority, and they were talking about the E-Rays, and I wanted to just give you kind of a rundown of the E-Ray. The color, they gave a color graph. Let me show you that graph. I'll throw it up here on the screen real quick. But so they made 530 black ones. Now, if up above here, I guess I got it cut off, but the left column is coupe and the right column is convertible. This is the C8 E-Ray colors. So 16.8% of them were black out of all the ones that they produced. And it goes down the line, and you can find what color you have if you... I do know a friend that just him and his wife just ordered a torch red, I believe, E-Ray. So they must be one of those right here in the 138. Now, I don't know for a fact, but I'm guessing that they got a coupe. I could be wrong. I don't know. I didn't ask him that. We were talking at Cars and Coffee. Here's the rest of the column. Competition yellow, 59. That's not very many. Rapid blue, 47. They made a total of 1374. Coupes and 1779 convertibles. They made more convertibles, I guess, than they did coupe, which is pretty cool. Must be popular. So yeah, I wanted to show that, and then I wanted to show you this, and stick around because trust me, I have unbelievable news that you're not gonna believe it. Like, it blows my mind. I just read it today, and I have to share it with you. First, I'm going to show you this, though. So, this was also on the GM Authority email. This is the Copo Camaro 2023. Copo Camaro is going to be going across the auction block in, I believe the article said, January of 26. But look at this. This car is a drag car designed for the drag strip. And it is absolutely insane looking. And how about that? I don't know. No, I'm not going to buy it. But holy moly. Look at that car. Anyway, that's going up for auction. I wanted to share that with you if you're interested in a Copo that goes fast. Here it is. 2023 Copo Camaro Racing Beast will cross the Ecamm auction block in Kissimmee event in January 26. I believe that's Kissimmee, Florida. I could be wrong, but I think that's what that means. But I wanted to share that with you real quick. And then we're going to move into the absolute most incredible thing that I read this today. I literally just read it today. And it is about the C8 Corvette. Now, we've talked about it before. They have a company by the name of Tremec. I don't know how you say it. But this company designed a transmission for the C8 Corvette to start producing manual Corvettes, C8s. Now, they started making the C8 in 2020. And there have been thousands of people that lost their mind, right? Because they don't make that available. They didn't make that available in the C8. GM said that because of the location of the motor being mid-engine and right behind the seat, it was almost impossible and extremely expensive to create and make a transmission, a manual transmission, that would fit in that confined space. However, this new article states that Tremec has sent a shockwave through the performance world, and it lands squarely on the doorstep of the Chevy Corvette team. They developed a 6-speed manual transaxle, a unit that directly leverages the engineering and packaging from the dual-clutch TR 9080 that currently resides in the C8 Corvette. Now, instead of it being an automatic 8-speed, it's going to be a 6-speed manual, which means the gearing is obviously going to be different, quite a bit different. And I don't have the ability to explain that to you because I'm not like a mechanic, but I can tell you that, you know, the manuals that they put in the C7s were 7-speed manuals, and everybody that had one said 7th gear was kind of stupid because it was geared so high that you had to be going like really super fast to ever even really get into 7th gear. So it just really didn't make sense. And so I think it's pretty cool that they have decided to come up with a 6-speed manual transmission. And as you can see from this section of the article, it will only be able to handle the cars that have 1,000 horsepower. So that means it'll be suitable for the Stingray, the E-Ray, and the Z06. This will not include the ZR1 or the ZR1X, obviously, because the ZR1 is a complete different motor, and the ZR1X adds the electric motor back in. So anyway, isn't that great news? Like, I'm excited about that because, you know, I think one of the reasons why I wanted to go backwards and instead of jumping over the cliff and just going straight into full on me having a stinking C8 Corvette. First of all, I think that even though I did that with the Camaro, I kind of like, I never had a Gen 1, I never had a Gen 3, I never had a Gen 5. I just went straight for the Gen 6. And then I had an LT1 convertible, which was the entry-level V8 Camaro Gen 6. And then I went and got the big dog, the collector's edition 2SS. I jumped right in. Like, I went right for it with the Camaro. But after I did all that, and after I had all these mods done to my car, I was kind of like, you know, I wished I kind of would have started with a 5th gen. Honestly, I wish I would have started with a 5th gen, because then I could have like went into and graduated to the next level. But I waited so long in my life to do that, you know, because up until 2023, I have been a motorcycle guy. And when I was fresh out of high school, the first thing I bought was a CB 500, like a Honda Shadow. You know, I got the small one, and then I got, you know, I got a 900, and then I got a 1100, and then I got a 1200, and then I got a Harley Davidson Sportster, and then I bought a Harley Davidson police bike, and then I got a road street glide, and then eventually I got the big dog. In 2019, I bought the Ultra Classic Electric Glide, the fully loaded, everything on it, navigation, everything. Like, that's what I had in 2019. And then in 23, I decided I wanted to have a car, right? And when I got a car, I just jumped all full in. Well, I decided that I kind of wanted to do it a little bit different with the Corvette. And that's another reason why I decided to go with the C7. You know, some of my friends are like, dude, you need a 3-pedal car. You need a C6 or a C5. And I'm like, dude, I'm old. I'm old. I want comfort. I want something fast and furious, fun, play, whatever. but I'm old. I gotta have the bells and whistles. Well, that's what I did. So anyway, I hope that makes sense. Feel like I'm rambling on now, but the thing of it is, like, I could have gotten a C8, but I decided I would rather start with a C6 or C7, and then of course when I saw the C7, I'm like, I was in love instantly. Like, I drove it, and it was almost like it was almost like me buying it brand new, because it was so well taken care of. And you won't understand what I'm talking about until you see this car, or until you sit in this car. You'll understand it when you see my car. It's pristine. Like, I didn't even know when I bought it, but I took it over to the guy that does my PPF and ceramic and things like that, window tint, and he was in the middle of doing a job, and he got done with that job, and we talked. He came out. He's like, dude, this car has PPF on it from the tip of the car all the way across the whole front clip, up the A pillars, down the rocker panels, in front of the back wheel. Like, the guy took care of it, right? And now it's mine. And I'm pretty excited about that. But then when I saw this news, I mean, are you kidding me? Like, I saw this about C8 having a manual transmission. The 2026, they changed the interior. The first 5 years they had it, the interior was a certain way, and then in 2026 they completely revamped the whole inside of the car. It's incredible. Like, and my eyes are like this big, and I'm thinking, what are they going to do for 27? What are they going to do for 28? And oh my goodness, I read this today. They might have a manual available. Guess what? Maybe it's a good thing that I waited to get a C8 because maybe it's in the cards for the Music Man to wait a couple years, enjoy the heck out of this C7, and then eventually get a C8 with the manual transmission. How cool would that be, right? So anyway, I don't know if you're excited about it, but I'm excited about the idea that they are talking about putting a manual transmission in the C8 Corvette. That just, like, I was thrilled about the Hysteria Purple. I thought, man, what a cool color. It's not a very popular color, but it's pretty neat. It's, different. And then they came out with Roswell Green, and I'm like, are you serious right now? Like, I can't believe that you guys you keep coming out with these colors, and it's blowing my mind, because the Roswell Green is, oh my goodness, like I don't even know how to talk now, because I'm so excited. Roswell Green is the color. I'm telling you, this is the exact car that Lakeside Chevrolet said, you know what, here's the keys, go take it for a drive, do a review on it, tell us what you think. You know what, if I'd have had $90,000 or the ability to have $90,000, I would have drove away with that car, because that car is incredible. I love the color. The only thing I don't like is the fact that it's a 1LT. And I think if you're going to spend that kind of money, you might as well spend a few more thousand and get a 2LT. Because the 2LT comes with performance data recorder. It comes with a couple of other bells and whistles. And it just doesn't really make sense to me, I think, to spend that kind of money on a C8 and not get the other bells and whistles that you want. Because it would be like almost being there, but not quite being there. So anyway, I'm stoked. I'm excited about the new news. about the possibility of a manual transmission in a C8 Corvette. I'm excited about that. So, what are your thoughts on that? You know, I know that there are people watching. Tell me what you think. When you watch the show, after I close it out and it goes live on my channel, and you watch through this show, leave a comment. Tell me what you think about that. If you think it's crazy, if you think it'll never happen, if you work at GM and you think I'm nuts, that it's just hype. Because, you know, last week I was a little bit annoyed with some of the hype too, because they keep hyping everybody up about talking about a 7th gen Camaro. And then down at the very end of the article, they say it's probably not going to happen. So why are you even putting it on? Why do you even put it in your article? I know why you put it in your article. You put it in there to get people excited, like you got me excited about the manual transmission. I know why you do it. Anyway, so yeah, thanks for hanging out with me tonight on Shop Talk. I appreciate it. And you know, it's November, so there's probably not any more car shows going on, at least not up here in Fort Wayne. If you are lucky enough to live in the South, you guys enjoy the winter down there driving around in your hot rods. We have to put ours up. We have to put them up on blocks in the corner of the garage, cover them up with a car cover, and plug them into the battery tender and kind of peek under the car cover once in a while when we go out to get in our winter driver to go to work. And we struggle to get through winter, but then eventually we get through winter. And I think that's why it's such a treat for us up north, because we only have a certain amount of time that we get to enjoy our cars, and then we have to put them away. So anyway, I will be back in 2 weeks. Let me look at the calendar. 2 weeks from today will be the 18th of November. We will do another Shop Talk. And I want to tell you guys, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the thumbs up when you watch these shows. Again, if you haven't checked them out, check out Camaro Cave. They are all about the Camaro. They are very knowledgeable of the Camaro. And Andrew and Tonya are good friends. And again, I wanted to thank them for having me on their show a couple weeks ago. Someday soon, I'm going to try to have them on my show. And we can have them on here like they had me on their show. So anyway, Music Man, thanks for stopping back on Shop Talk. I'm going to go for now. You guys have a great day. Be careful and wear your seat belts. Watch out for crazy people. I'm out.